want to talk about some concerning inconsistencies in the application of the law from the Portland Police Bureau at the ICE facility on Macadam Avenue. A couple of days ago, we had this announcement from Portland Police.
Oh, okay. No, what we're doing right now is we're just giving people warnings. What we haven't been enforcing is like the drinking in public, the standing in the middle of the street, you know, the blocking vehicles, discon, stuff like that. What we're going to do is we're giving everybody like a general warning right now.
Blocking the vehicle.
Hang on. So we're giving everybody like the general warning right now, okay? We're going to be enforcing those things.
Why? Why are you helping them?
Because it's the
We're
law.
not helping the feds. It's the law.
Still.
If you can stand on this sidewalk and peacefully protest, that's great. If you want to be over here with an open can, blocking traffic, doing all this stuff, then we're going to start enforcing those things, okay?
I don't know if you caught that there. The protester was like, but they're the ones blocking traffic. So we have seen a tremendous increase in the number of right-wing influencers who think that they're going to make a buck going down there and making propaganda videos for the regime. We've seen right-wing influencers partnering with, cooperating with Kristi Noem and DHS being allowed inside the ICE facility when our elected officials who have a constitutional right, an oversight right to go in and examine what's happening inside the ICE building are being denied access. Right-wing influencers are being allowed in. Kristi Noem is all about the propaganda videos, right? It takes 2 seconds to find right-wingers making videos on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok that completely misrepresent what is happening. Anybody who lives here, who has been down to the ICE facility, anybody who knows any of the protesters that are down there on a regular basis can be like, this is absolute complete horse shit. But it is filling the niche of creating that misinformation, disinformation for the regime so that they can try desperately to paint their false narrative about Portland. They're failing really badly at it, but all of these right-wing influencers have descended from all over the country because they smell money. And we're also seeing Proud Boys and other MAGA who are down there attempting to be provocateurs. Sometimes they're dressed up like black kids and they're trying to incite other protesters. And now I think the folks down there know who all of these guys are. We've heard from our elected officials, our state elected officials, that these guys are agent provocateurs and they're trying to get nonviolent protesters to start shit with ICE. They're desperate to manufacture a riot. And we are not giving it to them. Portland is not giving them what they want. So they're going to try to escalate their tactics because this is all they have, right? Americans have a very negative perception of ICE. They understand that ICE is brutalizing immigrants. The mission of ICE is deeply unpopular with the American people. Overwhelmingly, Americans do not want soldiers in our cities. Everything that Trump is doing does not have a mandate from the people. It's really, really unpopular. So he's got to desperately try to drum up some kind of riot, some kind of violent activity so that he can falsely claim that there is an insurrection, so that he can try to turn public opinion against regular American citizens who are exercising their constitutional right. I mean, it's failing overwhelmingly, but they're still trying because that's all they have left. All they have is propaganda. All they have is trying to convince people that their lies are true. Was a right-wing influencer who was charged, I think, with assault. And then we saw, for whatever reason, political pressure, they decided to drop the charges. He's still been back out there at ICE. So when you hear that protester make a comment of like, but they're the ones blocking cars, that's right-wing influencers who are not letting people go. I spoke with somebody who was down there the other day and said that she was not able to leave. They were blocking her car and she couldn't get out. Likewise, ICE is also blocking vehicles. ICE blocked an ambulance. They would not let an ambulance with an injured protester leave. They threatened to shoot the medic who was driving that ambulance. But the nonviolent protesters are the problem, according to Portland Police. So I guess for me, it's the inconsistency in the application of the law. Why are you talking to protesters? Why aren't you talking to the MAGA instigators, agitators? Why aren't you talking to the right-wing influencers who are out there trying to manufacture a riot? Why aren't you talking to ICE that is brutalizing nonviolent protesters? Why aren't you, Portland Police, going after ICE that is violating the rights of Americans? Assaulting Americans? You're making claims about protesters, fucking jaywalking? So there's this uneven application, right? There's this glaring hypocrisy. Portland Police Bureau has a long history of not being trusted by the community. And if they want to develop trust in this moment, they're really failing. There was a huge sweep of the encampment by Rapid Response BioClean. My kids used to work in homeless advocacy, and so I'm very familiar with that. They're notorious for violating the rights of homeless Portlanders in their sweeps. So the law in Portland is there's supposed to be 72-hour notice before you sweep an encampment. From what I've heard from people that are down at ICE, there was no notice posted or given, but the camp was entirely swept. And prior to that, keep in mind, sweeps take things like people's personal possessions, medication, clothing, identification. Like, sweeps are incredibly financially damaging to homeless folks and to protesters. That's still their personal property. So what I am hearing from people down there is there was not a notice to vacate in advance, but I haven't gotten confirmation of that. But I also likewise have not seen any of the flyers that have to be posted. I haven't seen any evidence of those being posted either. If Portland Police wants to build trust with Portlanders and they say they're here to protect the citizens, here to protect our rights, why is it that we are seeing MAGA down at the protest site repeatedly able to get away with all kinds of crimes? In particular, I want to draw your attention to this really disturbing footage. So what you can see here is a small group of protesters, and then counter protesters are approaching them. These are all MAGA influencers. This guy is a Trump flag. These guys are all filming for their social media because they are approaching the protesters. There is a petite woman here, and they're all going to all these big men are going to get up in her face. This is very intimidating, this wave of MAGA counter protesters, and she's trying to get free, right? They're giving her a hard time, and she has her hands up. She's right here. She's trying to get free of this crowd, and they're physically stopping her. They're putting their arms around her. They won't let her go. This is terrifying. To be a woman watching this video. The person making this video lives in the apartment building across the street, and they're screaming for the police to come help. The cops are all across the street here, and they're letting all of this happen.
They're surrounding a fucking woman that is trying to get away. Do your fucking job. They had no reason to walk over there and surround her.
Finally, the cops here
Fucking bitch.
come in. Right, so Portland Police's priority is like protesters jaywalking, but not MAGA surrounding a woman, and like we're physically stopping her from leaving. She has her arms up, being like, "I'm not doing anything." Because what MAGA is trying to do is they're trying to get protesters to push back or hit back, and then they're going to file assault charges, right? So she's like, "I'm not doing anything. I just want to leave." It's really, really scary. There's multiple instances of MAGA agitators, creators who are down there, and they physically assault the protesters. How scary. And Portland Police, what were you doing? I just want to give a shout out here to Kevin H. Foster on Instagram. Please go follow him. He is a journalist who is doing a really good job documenting not only what the protesters are doing, but also law enforcement and also agitators, MAGA counter protesters. He put out a great video yesterday where he talked about the crimes that are being documented that MAGA is committing down at the ICE facility that Portland Police are like not doing anything about.
Right-wingers at the Portland ICE facility are truly out of control. Last night, they were caught on camera committing multiple illegal actions. For example, they stole the personal property of protesters at the facility.
Handing out boxes of respirators.
Are you pushing a woman?
Yep, I am.
You can give it back. You just stole that from me.
He goes later.
They blocked and grabbed a woman who was trying to leave an encounter where she was surrounded by a bunch of MAGA supporters.
Why are you touching them? Leave her alone. Why are you grabbing her? She is trying to get away from you. Leave her alone.
And they also tried to tear down the encampment by the facility, even with Portland Police right next to them.
Hey, we're not doing that.
It seems the right-wingers are trying to justify this by saying that the encampment is illegal, but that's not how the law works. Just because the city says that the encampment is not allowed doesn't mean that the right-wingers are allowed to steal people's property and try to tear down somebody's shelter.
Yeah, please go follow Kevin because he's doing really good work down there. I find his updates really informative. We haven't even begun to touch on all of the documentary evidence of ICE assaulting protesters, violating their rights, and how Portland Police are not doing anything to defend Oregonians from the brutality and illegality of ICE. Their priority is protesters in the street, on a street that gets very little traffic, by the way. But ICE can block ambulances, legitimate protesters can't jaywalk, but MAGA influencers can accost a woman and physically prevent her from leaving. and police only get involved when residents start screaming for help. It's a little bit of a concerning picture down there right now.